I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Ecclesiastes 7:26 through 28. One among 1,000 men were found, but among women, one wise one out of 1,000 have I not found, saith the preacher. This video from my nigga Marcus, man. We were chopping it up and we were discussing a woman from his past and how she's pregnant now. Word to my brother Marcus, great dude. We were chopping up some finance and, you know, getting some things in order with the account. And we started rapping about a mutual, you know, associate. Well, for him, it was his ex-girl. But, you know, now she's pregnant. And, you know, we were just reflecting on her choice in a father for her children, or her child, I should say. And, you know, something he said really stood out to me about her choosing a lesser man, right? And, you know, a very interesting idea came into my head because I noticed women do that a lot. A lot of times they'll have a man that is a better option, that's a better choice, right? But why would they make that choice? The verse didn't say that there weren't any smart women. It said there weren't any wise ones. Didn't say there weren't any knowledgeable women. It said there weren't any wise ones. 1 in 1,000. So there may be 1 in 10,000. There may be 1 in 2,000. There may be 1 in 1,000,000. But he said 1,000. I couldn't find one. Who you decide to pick as a partner in parenting to your children is an indication of wisdom, not an indication of smarts or knowledge. So recognizing this flaw in your thinking takes a special kind of awareness. Now, this wasn't from a place of judgment because, you know, the homie, he has children of his own, right? And he isn't particularly happy with the woman he chose either. But the trickery behind that was a little more sophisticated than, you know, the current position the woman in question is talking about, right? That we're talking about is in. we started talking about why women pick lesser men. And I thought this is a great topic to chop it up with the fam about. So let's have some inner dialogue. When you think about the options and what options you are given, we think about forces of nature like water. We hear the term water seeks its own level. We hear the term, be formless like water. But there's an actual principle that discusses the path of least resistance. A lot of times men are in positions where they don't realize they're the path of least resistance. She might be with you because you're the path of least resistance. Water might seek its own level, but water flows in the path of least resistance. Finding a wise woman is very difficult. And their choices speak for themselves, right? Not that finding a wise man is much less difficult, but it is less difficult. And that's the word of God. That ain't my word, right? But specifically, we were just reminiscing like, man, and again, it wasn't from a point of judgment. It was from a point of just the recognition of who she is as a person. And she's a great person. But when you really zoom out, even a good woman can lack wisdom, just the same way a good man can lack wisdom, right? But when it comes to the choice of men, a lot of times it's not that women lack, the knowledge to know not to choose this man or a certain man to be the father of their children, especially out of wedlock, right? It's that they're purposefully choosing a lesser man. And there's a real reason behind that. There's a real reason behind that must be discussed further. And I was thinking of an analogy to bring to the table to discuss this. And I thought of one. And have you ever been in school and your teacher gives you a choice in finals, whether it be multiple choice, an essay, a project, right? You don't really care about the long-term implications. You care more about the best grade you can get. So you pick the easier project. Because men don't realize that sometimes some women look at them as utilities. They don't realize that they're picking the path of least resistance, and they don't realize that they are the path of least resistance. Why is this? This is because if a woman knows you are a developed man or a good man, or both a good and developed man, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, you name it, all across the board, BMSB, right? Body, mind, soul, bread. When a woman realizes that you are this man, something in her brain clicks and recognizes. And while I was telling him this, he was smiling and laughing because, again, I'm just recalling it to you. But I said something in a woman's brain recognizes that you are developed and she must develop too. But that recognition is humbling in its nature. It's humbling in its nature. And a lot of the times, men are used to this feeling because naturally we have been rejected in our past. Because again, manhood takes development, right? It takes development. And so naturally, a 21-year-old male is basically a boy in comparison to a 31-year-old male, right? And he has to compete with that male. He may grow into, that male, but he still has to compete with that male, right? And so there's a big jump and a big difference. But because men don't necessarily call upon women to improve aspects of themselves that take work more than their physicality, men don't usually call on women to improve aspects of their personality, their spirituality. If their physicality is there, a lot of men are shallow enough to accept it. My brother Marcus isn't one of those people, right? And I told him, I said, she knows she's gonna have to be a better woman for you. And he starts laughing something crazy. And he ends up telling me that this young woman he's talking about, his ex, talked to his sister and said, man, like, I'm the man in my relationship. This is the woman. She's saying, I'm the man in my relationship right now. But if I got with Marcus, I would have to be so much more of a woman. And she invited my brother Marcus to her baby shower. I'm telling you, it's a cold game. It's a cold game, right? It's a cold game. And again, she's a good woman, so I ain't knocking her, right? She's a good woman. But is she a wise one? Run that back. She's a good woman, but is she a wise one? Her baby father is not a man of character in this point in his life. I'm not saying he's damned to this position or that he may not grow out of this position, but he isn't that at this current point in his life. And she recognizes that. So much so that she admitted it to my brother Marcus's sister. And this is a very interesting phenomenon that I see that happens all the time. I see it all the time. You see a woman who is dating a man that she doesn't respect, but that she can control. And she likes that because she likes control, but she resents it because there's nothing to respect in him. Run that back. She likes that because she likes control, but she resents that because there's nothing to respect in him. Run that back for the people hard of hearing. She likes that because she likes control, but she resents it because there's nothing in him to respect. Enter my homie Marcus. Now, they were a great couple. And I think they can find a way to connect maybe later in the future. But admittedly, she recognized she had to be more of a woman for him. And that is a challenge. I've seen many men I've seen many men become clean for their woman, change their appearance for their woman, change their job for their woman, make more money for their woman, go back to school for their woman, lose weight for their woman. So many things. But what I haven't seen, what I haven't seen is a woman decide that a man who is worth his salt is worth the improving. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen a woman yet say I didn't deserve him. But I've seen many, many men who do deserve better, who, because of their own low self-esteem, believe that they deserve what they currently have. I implore you to think about that and think about whether you are the path of least resistance. Stay sophisticated.